Namaste. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Shanti in Place, a weekly virtual meditation and wisdom gathering hosted by the Hindu Life program at Princeton University. We've been on hiatus for a little while. We had some technical issues, which we apologize for, and we appreciate your patience. Hopefully those things have been cleared up and we can go ahead and proceed. For those of you joining us for the first time or watching along on YouTube, and perhaps you're newer to this particular gathering, we gather for a half hour, sometimes with a longer practice, sometimes with a shorter practice, and a presentation on wisdom teachings. Today, we will have a bit of a longer practice. So we'll meditate for just about 20 minutes or so. And this is an opportunity to be present to this meditation in whatever way feels right to you. We want to encourage everyone to either keep your cameras on or off as you feel comfortable, but we do ask that everyone remain muted to minimize distractions. An invitation here to find that comfortable seat if we haven't already done so. If we are seated in a chair, perhaps this is a time to more intentionally ground ourselves by sinking in and making that contact between the soles of the feet or our shoes and the ground beneath us. Or perhaps if we are seated on the ground or on a blanket or pillow or mat, just adjusting our weight, perhaps sinking in our sit bones a little bit more deeply and more purposefully onto the ground or onto our cushion. If we haven't already done so, we can close the eyes here. Or perhaps if it feels a little bit more comfortable and accessible to us, simply softening the gaze. Reconnecting with our breath, making sure that we're breathing in a way that's comfortable and allowing for that flow of air in and out. So often we, without even knowing it, end up holding our breath, especially if we're feeling anxious or feel self-conscious. And if that's going on for us, just recognizing that and allowing for the breath to flow in a natural way. We'll begin, as we often do, with taking 3 deep breaths together. And you're welcome to follow along or not. If you'd feel more comfortable just breathing in a natural rhythm, you can do that too. But for those who would like to, it's a powerful practice to begin a meditation by taking 3 deep breaths together with intention, breathing in deeply through the nose or perhaps softly between the lips for a count of perhaps 4 or 5 beats. And then with intention, holding that breath for, again, 4 or 5 beats. And then releasing the breath, exhaling out through the nostrils or again, softly between the lips. And on the exhale, let's see if we can elongate that breath. So we'll breathe out for about 6 or 7 beats. And again, these are just recommendations. If it's helpful to follow along, please do so. And if not, an invitation to find your own pace. We'll begin by ringing the bell, signaling the start of our meditation practice, and then I'll guide us on taking those 3 deep breaths together. Breathing in deeply. Holding. And releasing. Again, breathing in. Hold. And out. Last time, in. Holding. Release. Continuing to breathe deeply and with intention, but allowing the breath to resume its own natural pace and rhythm. Allowing the breath to find its own flow. Or as one of my teachers puts it, simply giving time for the breath to find itself. We're so habituated to activity, to doing, but sometimes we feel like in meditation practice, we also need to do. And so it's tempting to channel that propensity towards doing into our breath, into trying to control our breath or manipulate our breath or perform our breath in some way that perhaps tries to match some expectation of what it means to breathe in a meditative way. But in this practice, all we're doing is allowing our breath to find itself, to do what it does naturally. Or as some teachers put it, effortlessly. When we allow the breath to be effortless, it doesn't mean that meditation has to be easy and that if it's not, we're somehow failing. It just means we are letting go, even a little bit, of that propensity to control, of that propensity to lean into our expectation. Allowing the breath to be effortless means being present to what is, being present to the breath existing in this moment as it is. That means accepting this moment as it is. For some of us, perhaps accepting feels too vague, too abstract, too difficult to pin down. So if it's helpful, we can take this practice of accepting and make it more concrete by noticing. The act of noticing is perhaps the closest we come to a physical sensation of accepting. When we truly notice, when we truly observe, free of judgment or analysis or controlling, when we try to purely observe or purely notice, it's pretty close to that radical act of accepting. It activates our curiosity. It facilitates our being present. When we're truly noticing, it's harder to drift off into the past or jump forward into the future. Our attention, our awareness, it's pulled and grounded into this moment, into this one breath that we're observing right now. When we're noticing this one inhale, we're not even concerned with the out breath yet. When we're noticing the sensation of breathing out, we've already let go of the inhalation that came before it. We allow ourselves to be present. Continuing to notice the breath. Perhaps noticing, even on the periphery of our mind, of our thoughts, if there's any discomfort or anxiety, distraction or boredom. We can notice these too. Perhaps we're noticing the mind wandering. Perhaps the mind is complaining. Rebelling. Maybe for some of us, our minds are throwing a little bit of a tantrum even. We can acknowledge wherever the mind is taking us. And at the same time, we can simply bring the mind back, bring the thoughts back to this moment, this breath, this simple act of noticing. My dear mind, my dear senses, my wonderful vessel of a body, my friends, you've been so hard at work. You've been so busy, so occupied, so active. You've done so much. You will do so much. I'm so grateful for so much of what you've done and will do. Right now, you can rest. In this moment, there's nowhere else to be. There is nothing else to do. You are perfect just as you are, at rest in this moment. With gratitude, I give you this gift, these few minutes, just a few minutes out of the hundreds of minutes, the many hours, the days, the weeks. Out of all of this time, these few moments, these few minutes are so precious. With a grateful heart, I give you the gift of these few minutes to simply be present, to rest, to be. Continuing to ground ourselves in noticing the breath, or perhaps in the affirmation I just shared, or any affirmation that feels right to you in this moment. Continuing to ground ourselves in this gift of presence. We will spend just the few remaining minutes of our sit together in silence. And we'll conclude with the ringing of the bell, the taking of one final deep breath in, and then chanting the sacred syllable Om on the exhale. Connecting perhaps our individual experience with the sound of the universal and the infinite. Taking one final deep breath in together. Om. Gently and in a way that feels comfortable. We can open the eyes or widen the gaze. With kindness and gentleness, allowing our awareness to return to our external surroundings and to our virtual gathering. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. I know for some of us, this is a part of perhaps a larger meditation practice or a more regular meditation practice that we might have. For others, perhaps this is something new or something less frequent. I know for some of us, perhaps just as Shanti and Place went on hiatus, perhaps some of us in our own meditation practice perhaps have been on a little bit of a break. So maybe this is returning to a practice. And especially for those of us who are returning to a practice or starting a new practice, I want to congratulate you for being here. And I want to wish you well, especially as we kick off this amazing new year, 2022. May it bring all good things, blessings, healing, health, happiness, and safety to us all. I look forward to sharing this space with you every week when we're able to. And I want to invite you to join us again next Tuesday at noon for Shanti and Place. Thank you all so much. Namaste.